Dear friends and colleagues, since the initial chaotic phase due to the virus explosion is at our back, we are working constantly on our daily tasks, mice included. We are now in full recovery and we are ready to press the accelerator in our business. We have worked on the safety protocols for on-site operations, both for FIT and for groups, as well as MICE. In particular, the incentive travel that requires particular mobility and an articulated number of activities. We have therefore collected information from other parties in the tourism industry, such as airports, airlines, means of transportation, restaurants, hotels, tourist attractions, and events venues. With this information, together with the protocols published by the World Health Organization and the regulations of the local authorities, we have outlined guidelines for our operations. We are also committed to a high institutional level, as we are participating in national task forces that deal with incentives, meetings, events, and conferences. In this case, we have worked together with the Penang Convention and Exhibition Bureau for the creation of valid safety protocols for MICE operation. At the same time, we have launched a communication campaign through visual explanations or in other forms about what we are doing and the protocols we have defined. Our videos are still available for viewing on our social medias and website. The post-operation phase itself will also be subjected to deep attention, since the traceability of infected case will be a key element both for the care of our customers and for the protection of all frontline workers such as guides, hoteliers, food and beverage operators, and Lotus assistants. Much of our work will also depend on the policies adopted by the airline companies in terms of passenger capacity between carriers and fluctuation in the fares offered. We are following this development closely and we are doing our best to provide the best service to our clients in accordance to these developments. As for Lotus, our MICE team remains unchanged. We have made a strong effort to maintain a high quality level of service, in addition to a great deal of experience accumulated through several operations handled by us so far, particularly the incentive groups, which is our specialization. Moving on to real operations, we will reduce the time spent into small and limited environments, like cars or bus. We will focus on excursions on food, and we will propose to have the meals in large restaurants, possibly with large outdoor areas. The group will be divided into a number of smaller groups to prevent large gatherings, and we will promote the use of public transport or alternative vehicles wherever is possible. We will offer excursions well mixed with the social fabric of our destinations, focusing on themes strongly linked to the local reality, such as history, architecture, and art. We will dedicate ample space to the richness of the cultures and ethnic groups of this region, such as Indian and Chinese diasporas, Eurasian or Indo-Malayan Creole populations formed over the centuries, the great Western colonial heritage, and the characteristic relationship that exists between the spiritual and social sphere in the Asian community. For example, Penang, especially its capital, Georgetown, are a clear example of this variety that I have just described. Indeed, Penang has long been the crossroads of commercial exchanges, which have also led several populations to settle on its territory. This is the case of the Indians, who established close trade relations with the Sultanate of Kedah since the 1st century, to which Penang was subjected until 1786, and introduced Buddhism and Hinduism to the entire region. Starting from the 15th century, the Chinese, led by Admiral Cheng Ho, also landed on this island, thus giving way to the Peranakan dynasty, an ethnic group born from the first generation of Chinese colonists in the Malaysian peninsula and in the Indonesian archipelago, who have linked themselves sentimentally and culturally to the indigenous people. However, an accelerated development of the island occurred following the arrival of European settlers such as the Portuguese, Dutch, and especially the British, who have strongly influenced the history of this region. The British East India Company in fact instructed its explorer, Francis Light, to establish business relations in the Malay Peninsula. Francis Light found Penang to be a key to succeed in the region. After he obtained the island of Penang from the Sultanate of Kedah, he then founded the capital of Georgetown. In the following years, he expanded the territory to form the state we know today. In 1826, Georgetown became the capital of the Strait Settlement, a group of territories of the British East India Company in Southeast Asia. This settlement also included Singapore and Malacca. Over the years, Georgetown became a cosmopolitan city made up of different ethnic groups such as Chinese, Malaysians, Indians, Peranakans, Eurasians, and Thais. This melting pot is also well represented in architecture, art, cooking, and craftsmanship. A walk on the so-called Harmony Street highlights how differences can coexist peacefully in Georgetown, given that places of worship belonging to different religions such as Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, Chinese esotericism are placed almost next to each other. Moreover, in the Esplanade district, there are buildings of noticeable British colonial architecture such as the State Museum, the City Hall, and the famous Eastern and Oriental Hotel, where numerous famous characters from politics, literature, and art have stayed since 1885. Georgetown also accommodates neighborhoods with a strong ethnic background, such as clan jetties. It is a district comprises of stilt houses on the water, divided into 7 piers, called with the name of the clans who lived there. These piers were initially used for loading and unloading goods and for mooring boats. Gradually, each pier has been controlled and dominated by Chinese clans, and over time, various houses have sprung up. Due to the constant rivalry over the shipping monopoly, relations between the clans were very tense and often led to bitter fights and controversy. However, this is not the case anymore. Clans nowadays live harmoniously as the trade of goods is controlled by the local authorities. Georgetown offers a very interesting artistic side as well. Modern art was welcomed with enthusiasm by the city, as shown by the numerous murals created by the famous Lithuanian artist Ernest Zakharevich. Over the years, these murals have been the inspiration of other local and international artists. Many of these murals can be found along the walking streets of the old city, which have been included in the list of World Heritage Sites validated by UNESCO. Strolling through Georgetown with the alternation of murals well incorporated in the local context is an harmonious, fluid experience. Penang cuisine is considered by many locals to be the best in Malaysia. However, it is really difficult to identify a unique style of Penang dishes. Many of these dishes belong to very different culinary traditions, such as Chinese or Indian, and it is indeed a fusion of very disparate recipes that create unique flavors of their kind. Once again, the Peranakan ethnic group comes to mind, which has also created cuisines that blend the Chinese, the Malaysian, and the Indonesian cuisine well. Georgetown is also a home to many traditional craftsmen who prefer to work their magic with hand tools over machines. Among these various local craftsmen, there is Li Beng Chuan, an expert manufacturer of incense sticks, often used for prayers. Haja Mohideen, a manufacturer of songkok, a male hat typical of this region, sometimes associated with Islam. And Lilian Tong, a shoemaker who makes shoes with beads used mainly in the Peranakan tradition. Georgetown is just that, many small personal stories that are composed to a much larger story and an integral part of the understanding, although partial, of the multicultural and multi-ethnic society of Southeast Asia. We at Lotus Asia Tours are waiting for you to show you this amazing experience.